Good evening and welcome to another spooky edition of Witch Review with me, your favorite horror host, the Schwarzefly. Tonight I am going to talk to you about a very scary, spooky movie called Häxan. Häxan, or the witches, or witchcraft through the ages, as it's so called in other language. Häxan is a movie from a Danish producer called Benjamin Christensen. And if you didn't know that, Häxan means witch, the witch in Swedish. I am Swedish and I am really proud of this old silent movie from 1922. It is one of the silent movies that are worth watching even today, if you ask me. If you're into horror and if you're into old glamour, like old gore, old school medieval torture and nudity and soft porn, then this is a blasphemous movie for you. The movie is divided into 3-4 different pieces. It was actually shot as a documentary, believe it or not. So the first part of the movie is very informative. Since it's a silent movie, you have to read the intertitles. If you're not familiar with intertitles, then you are not old enough to watch this witch review with me. No, I'm just kidding. Intertitle is something that you put between the cuts of the movie to explain the story or explain what is happening. And all the intertitles are in Swedish, so you better find an English subtitled version of the movie if you don't understand Swedish. And the intertitles are really fun to watch, especially if you are Swedish. If you're not,
you'll be fucked over in the head.
All jokes aside, this movie is really a beautiful masterpiece that you just must watch. So the first part is very informative. It's a little bit of a history lesson about witches and witchcraft and Satan. The second part has more of a narrative, where we follow some women that are accused for witchcraft and see how they forced her into confess that she is a witch, and all the other torturous things that comes with that. But don't think this is only a torture horror, because it's definitely not. It has a lot of camp and a lot of like really old school horror elements to it as well. For example, Benjamin Christensen himself is playing Satan in the movie. And he's the portrayal of Satan, like scaring nuns. That's why I'm dressed as a nun tonight. And this movie has a lot of campy monks and nuns just being completely in the right element of being completely ridiculed. If you want to watch more crazy nunnery. And you can also see it in my next upcoming movie that I do together with Duncan Hume, which is gonna be called Spoiled Identity. Back to the movie. The third part, however, is more about how witchery in the Middle Ages was more looked upon as a excuse for mental illnesses, which we weren't very familiar with. We still have not clarified mental illnesses, but today we acknowledge it. Before we just call them witches and burn them at the stake. So if you were a little bit weird and odd and eerie back in the days, you were easily proclaimed to be a fucking witch. Luckily, that would never happen to me. So yes, what else can I say about Häxan? It has elements of horror, comedy, camp, gore, and nudity in it. So it was, of course, banned in several countries for many years. It was a little bit way ahead of its time for being very provocative. And I'm very proud of my Swedish heritage for that. Benjamin Christensen, the director of the movie, he based the study for this documentary on Malleus Maleficarum, which is basically a handbook for how to hunt down witches from the Middle Ages. Very interesting. The music is kind of me. You should definitely just watch it because of all these amazing images. There are like witches flying on broomsticks, screaming in the air like really creepy and really funny images all throughout this movie. It's a little bit long, and they made a remake of the movie in the 1960s, which I haven't seen, which is a shorter version. Maybe if you're not into silent movies and you think it's a fuss that you have to read all the time, maybe that shorter version is more for you then. But I love this movie. I could watch it a 4-hour, I think it's like 1 or 2 hour long or something now. But yeah, it's totally worth watching the whole thing, if you ask me. And if you really like this movie and also want to see another silent horror movies, I can definitely recommend Nosferatu and also Metropolis, which are very good, extremely good silent movies from the same era. That is all for me. I hope you had a very creepy time with your favorite horror host, Ishanta Wow. See you again next time, and the whole movie is on YouTube, so just watch it. Search for Häxan, and I might put a link below. Like and subscribe and stay spooked! It is bought at Noble Noir in Harajuku. But they closed the fuck down, and I'm really sad about it.